Hello, collective. It's Kai. I do have to choose myself, okay? And I'm just gonna start. Like, literally, if I didn't, okay, let me like get into this a bit. I'm gonna speak in you statements. Obviously, what works for me may not work for you. Please use your own discernment. That is the disclaimer. So when it comes to choosing myself, right? Of course, it can go into this very narcissistic like direction. And if I make moves out of like pettiness to prove a point, to justify something, right? I'm human. I make mistakes just as much as you may as well. And I recognize that I wasn't choosing myself. And this is just very vague because I'm not going to go into like the personal details, but I decided to choose myself. So when new information came into my sphere of information, right? This is just information. I recognized that there is a very big difference if I hadn't. Because if I didn't, then I would have perpetuated this whole cycle again of self-deprecation, of feeling less than, victim mentality, scarcity mindset, just honestly very conditioned things within me. And I think one of the biggest things that I recognized from this whole personal experience was people pleasing, and how I've really stepped away from that, and how important it is that I did, because of the fact that it's very embedded in Korean culture. And I'm not saying that everyone experiences this, it's not black and white like that, but it's definitely something that I've recognized after going to Korea, being around Korean people, growing up, and moving forward as I reintroduce Korean people into my life, because I've literally for so long cut out Korean people because something that I noticed as a child, which is really important to acknowledge. Also, post-event, yes, I am very much feeling that grime a little, but it's good. I decided to choose myself, and that came with letting go of a lot of people. It came with recognizing where I lost myself, or how much of myself I truly did lose. And I'm still discovering so much information about it, and it's such an interesting thing. It's so intriguing to me, and it's not personal. And something that I said today to someone was, I would not want someone that I care for to keep me in their life if I affect them negatively. And I mean that in a very dense form. Obviously, there's positive and negatives in any connection, and it's not, once again, black and white. It's a fluctuation, it's a flow. And so I was just like, I'm glad that happened. I'm grateful that that kind of discernment was done, not only with all due respect, on her end as much as my end, and a connection is between me and a person. It is not outside of that sphere. It's a completely different world the moment a new energy comes into the space. And that's why I do really, really like being on my own, because I experience the event, I experience the environment, I experience it completely with myself. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned, especially from practicing solitude, from also delving into isolation at some point, was recognizing that people are necessary. Social interaction is necessary as a human being. We are social animals, and nothing can be built alone. Due to that, I also recognize you can't stand unless you stand with yourself. You truly can't stand in your power unless you stand with yourself. And I decided to do that. I decided to really do that today. Like, I have been processing a lot of very deep, I'm literally ending the dark night of the soul, like now. Like, literally, it just happened. And I was like, what the fuck, man? If you don't know what that is, I'm not even gonna explain, because it can be defined in many different ways. And I'm not open to other people trying to define my own experience as much as me trying to define other people's experiences as well, because mental health is also very significant to acknowledge. So I recognized that I was very much healing this very deep trauma that I had internalized from a past relationship. And it came with not facing my emotions, not accepting it fully, not expressing it, also not taking accountability and building boundaries and making sure that I do respect my feelings, protect myself, but also not repress any parts of me. And it's just been this whole fucking journey, man. Like, these past few fucking months, like, literally also going silent and like moving within the shadows and like really allowing myself to acknowledge the parts of me that I don't like. I didn't like that part of me. I didn't like being into someone like that. And it comes with, yes, acknowledging that that no longer works with me in this presence that I have built from healing, actually just facing the pain and not continuing to perpetuate the thought cycles, observing the thoughts, also letting thoughts just flow and not attaching to it and defining any moment with those thoughts, right? So I'm just really grateful. I'm just really fucking grateful, because I had already intuitively, and also like, I'm a Scorpio, like, I know what's up. So I understood very clearly that there was a line being drawn. And I'm not one to recognize a line and deliberately cross it when it aligns with my values and my morals. And so that has definitely shifted a lot in these past few like weeks, literally. I recognized that I was definitely poking the bear. I was also recognizing that I don't mind poking the bear, because I too am a bear. And so it's also like, am I going to react or am I going to respond? And that came with learning a very deep lesson of letting go of someone that I was willing to work with the situation. I was willing to own up to how I was affecting them, and it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out, and that's just how it's meant to be. And I honestly really I'm really acknowledging that. I'm really fucking like, it's settling in. I'm still processing it actively, because I do have to like sit with my presence and allow that experience to happen and not judge myself as much as also be discerning. But yeah, I just really wanted to share that, because I truly, with love to all and harm to none, I pray that my existence, my expression, that my presence empowers people to be more of themselves. And that's not for me to decide. That's literally not for me to decide. And once I express myself vulnerably, authentically, whatever it may be, even if I do get hurt, even if I do feel pain, that is my fucking responsibility. That is something that I have to experience, and I have to acknowledge that and express that if there is space. If there's no space for me to speak up, then I won't. Because I've recognized through lessons, once again, karmic lessons, it was happening over and over again, and I was putting myself in that place. I was doing that to myself, and I was really upset. And so I screamed a little bit to let out some frustration, but it was a really feminine scream, and I've actually never really experienced that. And it's really interesting. And so I'm delving more into embodying my femininity and expressing care and being cordial to an extent, but also really just growing with myself and continuing to evolve and expanding, but also taking my time. Like really just sitting with myself and doing my own thing and acknowledging that I've been pushing myself. I've really been pushing myself, and that there's nothing right or wrong about it. That's just what it was. And I really put myself in a position of being very disempowering. I was disempowering myself. I was doing that. And so I'm learning. Like I said, I'm human too. I make mistakes. I have ego. And I'm just looking forward to whatever unfolds, because I literally manifested a fucking house. My guys, I fucking manifested a whole ass fucking house. And it's crazy how that just pans out, because I really want to share what I'm learning. I want to share my flaws and my mistakes and my vulnerability, and I want to express and be within my space and my reality and give myself that presence, that validation, that acknowledgement, and then come to you guys and share what I've learned about me, and as I'm actively learning, like in different presences, because I'm alive. I get to be alive in this very fucking moment. There is no threat around me. I am safe, and I have built my body to protect myself to a degree. I've built my emotional maturity to acknowledge that there's bullshit that I've taken on from generations of my parents being treated like fucking shit and their parents being like literally treated like shit. Like, the mental capacity that I want to expand is I want to share so that I can let go. That's literally what it is. That's why I put the timestamps, because it's in this very moment that I can share this with you guys. Who knows what's gonna fucking happen in the future? Who knows? I don't need to know. It's a mystery, and I want it to be that way. I really almost want it, but also need it to be that way. Because when I read cards for people, when I tap into my intuition, I know so much and I understand so much. And I'm like, bruh, I did not need to know all that fucking information now. But then it's like, yes, I did need to know. I did need to go through this. I did need to acknowledge all the fucking things that I was internalizing. I did need to recondition myself. I needed to redirect. I needed to reclaim my fucking power. I needed to give myself my fucking attention. I had to fucking experience these things in order to recognize it. And one of the things that I've learned is I get fucking sick and tired of myself. That's literally what it is. I get so sick and tired of myself. I'm like, bruh, like literally fucking stop now. Like, make the choice now. Now, in this fucking moment. Because if you don't, you will continue to procrastinate. You will continue to put it off. You will continue to perpetuate that fucking pain. And I was addicted to it. You can get addicted to the pain that you feel because it feels like something. And I recognize that, especially because I understand that I, to an extent, now with a lot better judgment, but like I definitely have been weaving this line of being very addicted to things and obsessed and controlling. That's the thing that I have been constantly letting go of in so many different ways moving forward from the time that I turned 18. That was the moment that I decided. I told my mom, I don't want to fucking scream anymore. I don't want to raise my voice. I just want to have a fucking conversation. I'm done. That's when I decided to own up to me treating my sister like fucking shit as a child. And I felt so fucking guilty. I felt so fucking guilty for years. And I put myself in a position to make me feel like shit because I felt like I had to own up for the shit that I did. In reality, right? Yes, to an extent that did work, but it also bred codependency. And it's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for me to be codependent. And I know that there is a healthy attachment style, and that's something I'm still learning a little bit more about, but also not really that interested in. And that is what it is for me. That is what it is for me. And so that's just a little synopsis of like what I've been experiencing, I guess, and like what I've learned. But thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me the space. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being fucking alive, bro. Thank you for being fucking alive. Literally. That's it. So I am sending you so much love and support on your own spiritual journey. Bye, guys.